guys. So we're back, and today we're going to look at a really nice game. We're going to look at some Nimzovitch, Aaron Nimzovitch, and one of the most really famous chess thinkers, one of the greatest chess thinkers of all time. He wrote a book called My System, and it had a lot of ideas of his own, which were novel. And became a huge breakthrough in chess understanding in the early 1900s, maybe 1920s or so. Came in maybe no 19. I feel like the book was in the 1930s. A really a beautiful book, and he wrote another book called Praxis, Chess Praxis. Basically, the ideas of My System in practice. So I think maybe we'll take some of those games. For now, for today, I want to look at one or two games that I've seen, and it really made a difference in my chess understanding. It really made an impact, and also really appreciated it when I saw it. All right, let's see it, and let's talk about colors as we go, as always. D4. So Nimzovitch is playing against Paul Johnner. Don't know much about him, anything about him, but certainly a good player. All right, D4. Pawn on dark. Knight F6. Tickling the light squares. C4. And here we are. And so white is playing the queen's gambit of, well, not really queen's gambit, but controlling the center. D4 and C4. The light and the dark. E6. And black is protecting, controlling light squares, mini bishop. Bring the bishop out as well. Okay. Knight c3. The knight's fighting for the light squares in the center. And, okay, Nimzovitch plays bishop b4. It's called the Nimzo Indian. Guess what? Nimzovitch. Same person. So the Nimzo Indian was, I don't know if it was invented by Nimzovitch. Maybe it was. I have to do some research, and maybe you guys could anyone that knows could talk about it in the Discord about this. But yeah, I'm not sure. Certainly, Nimzovitch was one of the foremost players of this system, maybe the inventor. And bishop e4, it's so color oriented. Why is this doing? What is he doing here? So pinning the knight, looking to stop e4. White's trying to push the e pawn. And that's no longer possible, right? Because if he pushes, then the knight takes. It's pinned, and also in some cases we're going to take the knight. And what color would we gain if we take the knight? Well, let's think about it. We'd lose dark, but we'd gain light, right? We're investing 1,000 dark for 500 light, 500 dark, so we're gaining light. Okay. Now, well, if we lose dark, what would we do? Well, we got to rebuild dark. Rebuild the missing bishop. Rebuild our dark. How do we do that? Mini bishops. So we would play pawns here, and possibly pawns on dark, creating mini dark square bishops. All right, let's see how it plays out. E3. He's trying to build a mini bishop. What they do in this, they try to get the knight to here to take back with a knight. This way, instead of having the pawns doubled, the knight's going to be here and controlling light squares. By the way, again, interesting. If we're taking the knight, gaining light, well, this knight also was controlling light. So what white's doing is saying, listen, you can gain light, but I'm going to have my other knight replace it and still be controlling all the important light squares. Okay, black just castles. Bishop d3 was played. Developing. And controlling light squares, a little tickle. c5. Tickling the dark squares. Here we are, and here we are. So it's putting some pressure in the center, and knight f3. Okay, defending is a mini bishop. Both sides developing normally. It's kind of cases. A lot of times you just gotta get your pieces out. We talk about colors, is that, but don't get too creative too early. You gotta also just get stuff going. I think that's important. Practical, just get your stuff out. Knight c6. Here we are, getting the knight out. And to be fair, I mean, look, I'll play games. You don't really know always in the early on where everything belongs. Sometimes you don't know which rook belongs where. What are you gonna do? You just try your best. Develop. Things will play themselves out. Once you get the pieces developed, you have a chance to make some big decisions, some creative moments, maybe make a trade, and maybe invest in a color. We'll see that happening soon. Okay, knight c6. And white castles, fair enough. And now Nimzovitch decides that, well, guess what? The knight's not pinned anymore. This bishop is stranded out here. Well, it's attacking the knight. Well, what happens if the knight moves to the center or moves away? The bishop is going to feel a little bit funny. So what do? We take. So again, color money. When we take the knight, we're giving up dark, 500 dark, but the net is we're gaining 500 light. Gaining 500 light. So let's think about it. He takes. First things first, d6. What is black doing? Everyone think about this. What is black doing? He lost a bishop, but he's creating mini bishops. Okay. 92. And here we are. b6. Look at this. Dual purpose. Mini bishops, but also getting the bishop out. Guess what? These are double pawns. Are they weak? Strong? You know, the thing about double pawns is that they have often potential. They're not necessarily bad. These pawns are no different. They have some potential, but they also can be weak. The front pawn is the weaker pawn here, really. And you know why? Because what color is it on? Light. Who's ahead on light? We are. And this is a great example where if every piece of ours would attack this pawn, let's say every minor piece, and every minor piece of his would defend, we would have 3, and he would only have 2. Because this bishop never defends the pawn. It's a really great example to see color themes in action. Really, really nice. Very pure. and by the way, guys, I would recommend try Nimzo Indian as a good way. It's a great opening. I've played it for many, many years, and it's also really fun and a good way to practice color ideas. Knight b3, okay. e5, putting pawns very... Knight b3, I think he's trying to stop the knight from going to a5. Okay, e5. Again, two purposes. Mini bishops, more pawns on dark, rebuilding the weaker color with pawns, and pressing the stronger color, which is light, with pieces. The bishop's going to come out. Okay, here we are. f4. He plays f4. Color-wise, f4 is not that good. He's putting more... White is behind on light. So instead of f4, you know what's interesting? Instead of f4, what might be a move? More symbolic of colors, more respectful and humble on light. What could white consider trying instead? And the answer is maybe f3, and or e4 at some point. Now, it does two things. It rebuilds light, and also, notice this bishop. What is this bishop called? If you guys pause this for a second. What do we call this bishop? The answer is a golden bishop. This is a golden bishop. An unopposed bishop is worth its weight in gold. We've seen some Lasker games with that. And various players, Rubinstein, I believe. Golden bishop. We've spoken about even Morphy. We've seen golden bishop. All the players, we've seen how their takes on golden bishops and how they use the bishop pair. But okay, this is a golden bishop. we have to evaluate it for white. If we're white, what do? We can't just... This is the worst... It's the worst piece on the board. So that's not a good sign. So whenever your golden bishop is your worst piece on the board, it's time... Soul searching. It's time to search our souls and to dig deep. To work hard to improve it. So again, f3, e4. Pawns rebuilding the weaker color... And it's almost a reward from the universe. Building in harmony, the pieces express themselves in a fluid way, and the golden bishop can feel golden. Okay. F4 is a great example of logical move attacking, but not in the spirit of the colors. Black plays e4. Interesting. If he took, I think he would take back. Lines open up. So e4, what it does is it clogs the bishop. It also clogs this bishop. We could kind of argue that black would rather have a piece on here than a pawn, but still it does more damage to white than any downsides for black. It's a good squeeze on light, and it suffocates his pieces. All right, bishop back, queen d7. Look at this. White's trying to play g4, g5, possibly, and get some momentum. Queen d7, so quiet, and stops g4. What color is he trying to hit him on? What color is black angling for? Answer is light. Why? Because we're ahead on light. Okay, h3. How are you going to stop g4? This is like a big Nimzovitch moment. First of all, g4 is about... He plays knight e7 first. And I think if g4... What if g4? Okay, this is interesting. If g4, maybe h5? Was he gonna go for that? Maybe. g4, I feel like I have to do some analysis about this. Why g4? Alright, this is good for you guys to think about. Why not g4? And I don't know the answer. Maybe you felt it's too weakening. Probably just too weakening. Probably g4, you just attack here, attack on the other parts of the board. But okay, worth looking at. The queen e1. I think now he's trying to get the g4, especially since the queen is controlling some squares. How does black stop g4? And this is Nimzovitch, you call it die blockade, the blockade in German, the blockade. And to blockade, you want to have knight here to block this pawn, and to stop him from kicking. How do we stop it? If you want to pause for a moment. And the answer is h5 to prevent g4. Bishop d2, queen f5, king h2, queen h7. All right, he's trying to maybe get the pawn up, and again stopping g4 because having some pressure on the king. Here we are. a4, look at this, a4, trying to get a5, trying to open up our pawns. How do we play against a4? Well, first he plays knight f5. Let's see, knight f5. And he's looking to play here and then get that, sink that knight into a great square. g3 was played. Now black wants to stop a5. What does Nimzovitch play? And the answer is a5. He plays a5. Very tight. This reminds me of, well, actually, it might be interesting to see that Fischer game. Okay, maybe we'll wait till we get to Fischer. Okay, but Fischer played it reminds me of Fischer's game against Spassky. Very famous. I think it was a 6th game of the match. Nimzo Indian, and it's so similar. And he also plays a5. Pawns every which way on dark. By the way, this pawn might be a weakness too, because it's on light, and black is ahead on light. Okay. Rook g1, knight h6. He's trying to stop g4. Look at this, knight h6, stopping any light. White needs to fight back on the light with pawns, and black is saying no, squeezing him on the light squares. Bishop here, bishop d7, rook c8. Little by little, tickling this pawn. Fair enough. d5. This bishop is bad. Look at this bishop. The golden bishop is literally so bad. There's no way out. It can't go here. It's a prison. Here, how does it still get out? The only way out is if one day he gets g4 and the bishop comes this way. But look how powerful the grip on g4 is. Total bind. And I think we could see this game and see it's a bind and learn from the game. But when we think about it in terms of colors, we have more perspective of turning the position from here, which looks innocuous, to this position here, which is not innocuous, to this position, which is like really, really getting painful for white. But we can do it, and we could learn the methods. What Nimzovitch is doing, solid build up, pawns on dark, and a ruthless, very, very ice cold squeeze on light. That's what's happening. The colors are our guide. King h8. It looks like he's trying to get some attack. Now that he has blocked forever, now it's time for black to attack. By the way, there is one pawn on the board that white would love to give it up, to just pluck it off the board. This is a good little quiz. I want you guys to pause here. Which pawn, if you were white and you could take off one pawn and nothing back for it, which pawn would it be? And the answer is the C pawn. The C pawn is white's worst enemy. He's in the way of the bishop. Imagine if the bishop had a chance to... This is a strong bishop. If the C pawn weren't here, I don't even know. White may be doing very well, even down a pawn. This pawns are not going anywhere. And the bishop is great, a golden bishop. Now the golden bishop is the worst piece. If without the C pawn, the golden bishop is the best piece. So we're seeing how double pawns impact the golden bishop. Look how he blocked. He blocked the pawns. Black. It's not by chance. Rook g8. g5. g5. By the way, it's funny. If he checks, looks kind of nice because takes. It's mate. Check. And yeah. By the way, what color is it made on? It's on light. Is that a coincidence? Oh no. So, bishop g2, g5, and here we are. But, oh, by the way, for knight g4, the problem is that he would just go back. So it's all fancy, but I'm not going to play fancy moves if it doesn't get anywhere. All right, g5, rook g7, building up little by little. You would not play g4 because then white could go h4 and clog it up. So, knight f5. Particularly now that he has a grip on light, a permanent grip, now he's beginning to look towards the dark. Rook g8, building up pressure, very patient. You guys see how it's building up. It's important to first build up, then before he breaks. Finally he takes. And he can't take back with a pawn. He has to take with this pawn. And bishop back. Look how he's going around to attack the light, searching. Notice that this knight can't move because this pawn is weak. Queen b3, here we are. Bishop a6, if he ever takes, his bishop flies in, attacks everything. Attacks the rook on light. Attacks the knight on light, which protects this pawn, and it's going to be over. Rook e2, knight h4. Ooh, big move. He cannot take, and he's landing the promised land, knight f3, trying to go to f3 soon. To get rid of the light bishop and do just really get all the pieces in. Maybe the queen on light as well. Bishop back. Look at the bishop goes back. The rook here stopped the knight. The bishop goes back. Tickles important light squares. He takes. Incredible. He just takes. And what's happening here? So if king takes, what black to play? This is kind of cool. Black to play. What do you do? He's on a light square, which is already a cause for alarm. I'm going to pause here. And the answer is queen f5 check. If he takes, it's mate. If he pushes, it must be rook takes is mate soon. Or even knight takes, I guess. Rook takes looks good. Rook takes. Actually, interesting. I think knight takes is the best way. And then you take, and then it has to be over. All right. Now, if king here, okay, king back, knight g4. Look at this, like a windmill of sorts. Can't go here, he has to go back. And then you go here, and then you land the mate. What color is the mate on? Again, light, not a coincidence. Okay, here we are. Bishop takes, he takes back. Doesn't take the piece, poison piece, but now we take the light bishop. Very happy. Oh, he doesn't take yeah, he doesn't take yet. He goes bishop f5, saying, "Hey, light is my color." Oh, bishop f5, and now he forces him to take, and now the knight swings back. And notice how there's a square. The h pawn was not just a pawn. The h pawn was a light brick, and now there's new squares on light. h4, defending all sorts of mates. Pawn takes, double check, and now queen h3, looking to play rook h7, and basically over now. Knight h4 is sliding in on light. Look how the light squares are all blacks. Look how both knights dominate light. They're on dark, but when they're on dark, they dominate light. So king here, rook e8, looking to maybe take the knight, and he just gives up. That's it. That's it. That's all she wrote. There are no moves, and black wins. Look how the bishop never played as non-player. See, it's interesting. It's a non-player. It's out of play, and even if it wasn't play, so it doesn't help light. So on light is always a non-player. All right, but I guess what's going on here is that white had no counterplay because all the play was on light, and there was no. Yeah, I mean the bishop was out of play, so it couldn't help distract black from his light square ideas. Okay. Yeah, I think this might be a good stopping point for today. This was an interesting game, instructive, and we'll pick up next time with some more Nimzovitch games. All right. Hope you guys enjoyed, and again, yeah, Nimzo. This is a kind of cool idea. I would recommend you guys try Nimzo, even if it's just for fun here and there. Try the Nimzo Indian. Really fun and good color base opening. All right. Well, thanks everybody, and it's a pleasure, and see you soon.